This card is going to have several different layers. For this layer, all I need to add is some of the dark chocolate truffle Starburst stain from Lindy's Stamp Gang. So give it a good shake. Now I'd like lots of that yummy sparkly stuff on there, so I'm just giving it a little squeeze as I apply it. Now I'd like some areas darker than others, so in some spots squeeze out a little bit more of that product than others. And set this one aside to dry. For the next layer, I'm going to be mixing some of the dark chocolate truffle and the Tiffany's blue. Now to pull this off, I'm going to need the help of a little bit of water. To assist the colours in mixing, I'm going to give the piece of cardstock a quick squirt with some water before I start doing anything else. Then to the top side, I'm going to apply some of this dark chocolate truffle. You can see how that water has made it much lighter than it was on the previous piece of card that I applied it to. I'm also not squeezing particularly hard. You can see how it's wicking here. This is exactly what I'm after, so that now when I apply the Tiffany's blue, and I'm using the Starburst spray for that, those colours will mix together there in the middle. Now to make sure that happens, I'm just spraying that over the middle area a little here, but you'll notice I have not applied it to this end. Now this Tiffany's blue is one of my favourite new colours from the new Lindy Stamp Gang range, and this is the first project I'm actually using it on for camera. See how beautiful this is looking already? Now I'm just going to take this off camera and let it dry. For this next layer, I'd actually like my Tiffany's blue to be much darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Magical Mica's Tiffany blue, or Magicals as we call them for short, plus a water brush with a broad nib. Add a little bit of water to the lid. Scoop some of the Tiffany's blue Magicals, and you want to make sure it's nice and mixed so that you don't get any lumpy bits. And then using the nice broad tipped water brush, apply that to the cardstock. Now you'll notice I'm getting a much darker blue here than I did direct from the bottle. That's the beauty of the Magicals. You can make it as dark or as light as you'd like. It goes a long way. And that's my gorgeous blue Magicals background in the Tiffany's blue. Again, pop this aside to dry. For this last piece, I'm going to be using two more of the Magicals, and these ones are dark chocolate truffle brown, which was the same colour as I've used already, but this is in the Magical rather than the Starburst, and Creme Brulee Cream. Now this one has very little dye colour, so it makes a beautiful blending colour for other Magicals. A little bit of water in each of these lids. And I'm going to start with my lightest colour so I don't make a mess. I'm going to add some water to this piece of cardstock so it's a bit easier to blend before I start working on it. And I'll start with the Creme Brulee Cream, and I'm just going to randomly pop that all over the back of the card here. So you can see that's really not adding much colour to the card. Create a watery mix of dark chocolate truffle and randomly add this. Spritz with water to blend. If there's any spots that end up really, really devoid of colour, just use what's left on the water brush tip there to add a little bit more in. And again, you know what I'm going to say now, leave that to dry. My pieces of background cardstock are dry. This is the dark chocolate truffle and Creme Brulee Cream. This is the Tiffany's Blue Magical. This is the dark chocolate truffle Starburst stain. And I knew this would be my favourite. I've done this technique a few times before and it just is gorgeous. This is the Starburst stain in dark chocolate truffle at the top, oversprayed with the Tiffany's blue Starburst spray overlapping towards the centre. I'll see if I can just give you a quick peek from one corner to the other so you can see that beautiful graduation of colour. Isn't that pretty? Looks even nicer in person. These are going to make a fantastic card when I combine them with my Copic coloured image, also using aqua and brown. The first step will be to cut this brown dark chocolate truffle with my gorgeous new Sizzix die. This particular die is called Swirly Front and it's going to look gorgeous. Detailed, elegant, and that's going to look really pretty on my card. Moving on to my mottled background, I'm going to run this one through one of the gorgeous embossing folders to give it a raised appearance and then rub an ink pad over the top. Isn't that beautiful? And this is the Sizzix folder, one of the new ones. And this is the result up on the cardstock. I'm going to use the pearlescent sky blue brilliance ink pad and a little of the pearlescent jade. So just carefully wiping this across the top. Now you'll notice that with the sky blue I haven't particularly wiped across the whole pattern, I've just grabbed parts of it. So now for the pearlescent jade. Now these Sizzix embossing folders give a lovely deep image, so I don't have to try very hard to only get the embossed areas with the ink pad. In fact, it's particularly easy with this. Now I don't know what you think, but seeing it in person, this looks so pretty. Hope you can see all the difference between all the colours there. And because the brilliance is also pearly, it doesn't take anything away from the background. So far I've added a little stamp in the same colours of brilliance ink that I used on this panel, just a peek above the top here. I've cut to size and stuck the panel on a white piece of card, and then I've added the dark chocolate truffle swirl along the bottom there. I'm at the next step. I've used my Tim Holtz on the edge die to cut the Tiffany's blue background into this cute little shape here, which I've stuck on the back of my main panel. I've also cut the beautiful blue and brown background down to size so that it fits my greeting farm image, and this is ready to go on my card. So I've got a little ribbon that I've coloured with my Copics in the matching aqua colours, and this is the little brown piece of dark chocolate truffle cardboard that came off the offcut from this piece here, so I've made a coordinating ribbon. I've also stamped a little saying here on white card in the same brilliance ink that I've used on the rest of the piece, mounted it on one of the Tiffany's blue offcuts, and used a little bit of chalk to colour the inside there so it's not too stark and white. I'm ready to put my card together, and once I've stuck all this down, all I'll need to do is a few little embellishments around the side and I'm all done. This is my finished card. I love how well all of those beautiful colours from the Sweet Treats set go together from Lindy's Stamp Gang. The blues and the browns just work so well together. I don't know if they were designed that way, but it surely works that way. I've done my Copic image with exactly the same kind of colours. I actually matched them to my Lindy's backgrounds just to make sure it would all work. And I love the way that this has turned out. So it wouldn't be one of my creations unless I finished it off with a little bit of bling. This one has some Creme pearls, and this is one of the Say It With Pearls range, and it was already in the right colours, so I didn't even have to do anything to it. You can see how gorgeous my cutout die cut from the chocolate truffle looks. I've got one of the Lindy Stamp Gang charms here. It's a little butterfly. They come as brass colour, but I've used my Copics and some glossy accents to colour it up and make it gorgeous and glossy. I really like the way that my image turned out, and I think that the colour of the card is really what makes this. So a big thank you to those gorgeous Lindy Stamp Gang products, which turn out looking so good. I was really pleased with my colouring on this. I got the colours matching really nicely. I tried something new on the hair. I'm always trying something new, got to have a play. And I like the fact that with my Copic multi-liner, you can barely tell that I've edited the image. Now this background that you're looking at now is one of my own creations. I might show you how I made this in another clip. You can see I've got a little bit of spicker and glossy accents on those eggs just to really tart them up because they all come in those beautiful metallic wrappers. And a little bit of spicker every now and then just in a couple of other spots just to sort of like make it so that it matches the background. So I hope you've really enjoyed seeing my Easter Anya, and this is for the Lindy's Stamp Gang Bunny Blog Hop. Alright, don't forget, visit all the other blogs and have a look at all the fabulous creations from the Lindy's Stamp Gang design team.